Boys and girls, ladies and gents, ESPN just gave us a little bit of pulse, some inside information on the Buffs' projection on the future of them making the playoffs, how it could happen, what it looks like. It seems to be a little bit fishy. I got questions, and maybe you guys can elaborate or help me understand what I'm missing, but it's strange, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we break this whole thing down with this little calculator that ESPN provides. Just a few weeks ago, Colorado wasn't on this list. I think they only put teams on there that had to have a minimum percentages of being there. They didn't make the requirement. Given what's happened this past week, they now meet those requirements, so they're there, and now we get to finagle with it. This show, of course, brought to you by BetUS. Let's roll the intro. We'll talk AP. We'll talk everything. Smash the like button, subscribe. You know the drill. Let's get into it. Now, this is going to be the last week we look at this AP poll, because after this AP poll, Tuesday is that is going to be a seeding / ranking for the playoffs. So the AP poll is going to lose its lust. It's not going to have any control of the destination for the Buffs and going into making to those playoffs, or those true final 12 teams. Will it mimic this? Maybe, maybe not. They take a lot more things into consideration than the AP poll. AP poll is more of a personal bias feeling. You've seen the ESPN power rankings. They take a lot more into consideration. They take the talent on the football team, who they've gone up against, and their opponents. There's so much more numerical data that goes behind it. I think this thing's going to get shuffled around a good bunch, which we'll talk more about it. But what we're going to get into now is the ESPN ranking thing that they have on their website, which is pretty cool. I enjoy playing with it. Again, they try to, take things into consideration. It's always percentages. It's best feeling. You do with what you will, right? So you can select which team that you want to play around with. Obviously, we're gonna be selecting Colorado here and see how this thing shapes up. So here's the team. Here's their remaining schedule, right? So we're already on the mindset that Colorado has to win out, and that's going to be the first order of business. What we talked about in the previous video is things have to happen in front of them for them to make the Big 12 championship, right? So let's play that card first, because that's right now, as if things were in today, they do not make the Big 12 championship. So let's say they don't make it. How does ESPN look at this? Which I've said, that's going to be tough. 4% chance of making the playoff, which is kind of what I've been alluding to. Just given the quality of opponent, they're not going to give them too much value, those teams they have left. And then the people in front of them, a lot of things have to go wrong for them to have an opportunity to be there. So not the best option, which we already knew that, but 4% still a pretty good opportunity going 10-2, but you want a chance to get there, right? So let's reset it, okay? And let's say they make it, but lose it, all right? That's you're winning the same amount of games, right? But that means some teams have fallen in front of you, which we've talked about as well. I got to think it's probably pretty close. It's actually less. Yeah, because now you have a third loss. Very interesting. Very interesting on how that plays out. So if they make the Big 12 championship but lose, they're basically are no bueno, which is also interesting, again, why that 4% is there, because let's say Iowa State does make it and BYU plays, and Iowa State's in front of them, they lose, you expect them to fall back, right? It's crazy. Here's where things get interesting, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Let's obviously say best case scenario, which if they win the Big 12, it's an automatic bid to the top 4 seeds, right? That's how this works. The four power conferences get it in. But it's only a 92% chance, which is great chances and great odds. But when I show you the other teams, and what I'm going to show you here, which also confused me, is the seeding of this. They put them at a 12 seed going up against Oregon. That doesn't make sense. They've got Boise as a 4th seed. You can see here's their Final Four at Ohio State at 1, Texas at 2, Miami at 3, and Boise State at 4. Which doesn't make sense, because they should be that 12th seed. I'm confused on how that works, because let's say, look how this works out. If I go up here and I click Iowa State, right, and I play this game with Iowa State, and they do their job, right? They win out. Good stuff. Even with one loss, mind you, they win this. 99, and look where they're at. The 4th seed. Now, they have them losing to Tennessee, right? But they're in the 4th seed nonetheless. That part is confusing to me. I don't understand that, Because again, my understanding is if the 4 conferences, whoever wins gets an automatic bid to one of the 4 spots. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can enlighten me in the comment section. Let's try one more. Let's try. I mean, BYU would honestly be like, let's try Kansas State because they have 2 losses. I haven't looked at them yet. Maybe that's a factor. They're a 3 seed. What the? Very strange to me. Very strange. I don't know if there's a glitch or what have you with this on how this could be. Again, 97 doesn't make any sense either, but it should be 99 like how it was for the other one. But you could at least see they're at least a 3 seed, right? Not a 12 seed playing in this thing. So I don't know if there's just a glitch going on with it. But ultimately, what it does tell us, which kind of been knowing this entire time, is that you got to win to get in, and you need to get into the Big 12 championship. That's what this boils down to. Again, we've already known this, but I like looking things. I like being able to see that overhead, and I think some people, wanted to see that as well, just to kind of paint the picture and really see how this thing can shake up. It's the comment section. You guys kind of enlightened me a little bit. Look, I was kind of talking about BYU. BYU is irrelevant. I think someone made that point. It's a great point. It just matters because one of the teams are going to make it. BYU losing or winning doesn't really affect it. The only reason I brought them up was because, more opportunities of teams losing expand your chances. And again, if BYU does lose, but Iowa State doesn't, and they beat Utah, then Colorado gets a chance to get in, and you don't have to Iowa State have to lose again. So it creates more opportunities. But yes, technically, BYU does not need to lose. It's gonna get wild. I've been saying it all season. Like I said, I love playing with this thing with the calculator they have going on here. You can see there's so many different options you can go to and select if you guys want to look at other teams that you think like, who's fun to take a look at and see. You can see the chances of these teams. This is where they sit currently. So currently, Colorado sits at 14%, which is a healthy position. I mean, given A&M was just probably up until this week 80% chance of making it, given the fact they led the SEC, right? Alabama has 2 losses in the SEC, but they have them more favored over A&M. Some of these things don't make any sense. Ole Miss has 2 losses in the SEC. A&M only has 2 losses in the SEC. They have 2 losses overall because they lost to Notre Dame. But I don't know. Just here's what I don't get fined. You know what I'm saying? Let me know your thoughts and comments in this down in the comments below. As always, of course, the show is brought to you by BetUS. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.